Thanks for tuning in today. Today we're going to go over the Workspace Studio, the new agent builder by Google. The first thing that you want to do is go to studio.workspace.google.com and you'll see this nice interface. And let's go over it real quick. So here you've got what they call the Discover screen. And this is where you can either describe something in Gemini or go through a already pre-built template. And let's go through one of these real quick and I'll show you how this works. Okay, let's scroll to the bottom here. Let's go get a news AI summary brief. Okay, so you click on the template, right? And it brings you into this screen. Almost every agent is three things, right? Your starter, which is your initiation. It can be a schedule. It can be a trigger event like an email, and then an action, and then a final result that you're going to send typically, right? Or do another action, right? Let's look at this one. For instance, it's a schedule. Let's schedule this and say, I want a news update every day at noon. Okay. So we'll do weekdays. We'll click on noon here, right? Monday through Friday. I want to stay off my cell phone as much as possible. So this gives me a little advantage here. I still want to get the news, see what's happening. And then let's go to step 2, which is Ask Gemini. And this is nice. It pre-builds this, what you want. And now you can tweak this. And so what I've done already is I've tweaked it to say, I want news about AI. I want news about my beloved Jacksonville Jaguars, my Purdue basketball. I like Paul McCartney, big fan of the Beatles. So I want to track anything that's going on with him. I also like stocks. So those are my 5 general interests that I enjoy reading about. So I've changed mine by just tweaking inside this step 2, this Gemini, to include those variables. All right. And then step 3, all you're going to do is send an email to yourself, right? Name it whatever subject line you want. And now notice the variables. What it does is it knows what you did in step 2, right? So it knows to go get the content created by Gemini. Okay. Now down here, you can do a CC, a BCC if you want something like that. On this test run right here, all this is going to do is warn you, hey, this is live. So if there's any real data that you're using, be careful, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to hit start button to do a test run on it here. And it's going to fail because right now, this product, Workspace Studio, is so popular, it's at capacity. And so you'll click start. It's going to do a test run. And it's going to come back here at capacity. That's what it says. We'll be back soon. But I already did this. So right here is the answer that you're going to see. So when it wasn't at capacity, I was running this already, set myself a nice little email, and here we go, right? I've got the artificial intelligence Gemini updates. I've got stock market updates. I've got the Jacksonville Jaguars news, right? We're playoff bound, obviously. Paul McCartney news. He wrote a new book about the Wings time in his life. Here's Purdue's basketball. By the way, at noon today, they play number 10 Iowa State. Should be a good game. We'll see. And so that's pretty cool. So let's go back and let's now try to run a different agent. Okay. So what we're going to do here, and by the way, you can see it's got a notification. We have an issue basically telling us it's at capacity, right? So we'll save that one for later. I do like this. I actually have created other agents like this using like N8N, where I'll go get updates because I want to stay off my phone as much as humanly possible. It's just a big dopamine trap to me, right? And to many others, right? So I try to control that. So let's do one more discovery. Okay. Now let's do this time, let's look for a gem. So actually, instead of doing a discovery, let's just go create our own. Let me show you how that works, right? And what we'll do is on a schedule, right? And let's go back to that, by the way. Trigger event. Let's look that over. Let me explain that. You got to choose your starter. So that's your trigger event. That can be a time trigger event or actually like an action, something like triggers it like an email. I get an email from my wife, right? I want to send myself a text message because obviously I want to answer my wife's emails, or another important customer or a project that you're working on. Let's say it has project number 1, 2, 3, 4 in the subject, right? I want to be notified of it. Or let's say you're monitoring when certain files at work get edited, right? Like you're waiting on people to add some stuff to an Excel spreadsheet or a Google sheet, right? These are all different starters that you can choose. So for our example, we're going to do on a schedule, okay? We're going to do weekdays. And let's say at noon every day, I want to see how my stocks are doing, right? So Monday through Friday at noon, I want it to send me an email and open up an Excel spreadsheet or, a Google sheet and look what the current stock prices are. So I've built this sheet here, right? And it says your Amazon stock price is $229. NVIDIA stock is 182, and so on and so forth. Okay. So I want to grab cell A2 out of that, right? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to Google Drive. I'm going to find that sheet. I'm going to do insert, and then sheet name is sheet 1. I'm not very original. Okay. The column, right? I choose the column stock update, right? And then here, all I'm going to do is pull out the first cell, which is any data, right? Okay. And then if I wanted to, I could add another column, right? An and statement or an or statement. I'll go ahead and delete that. Okay. And then the next step is I'm going to send myself an email, right? So it's going to go to me, right? So I'm going to put Stan in here, look myself up, subject stock update, stocks update, right? So I'm going to get this at noon. And then all I'm going to do is put cell A2 in here, but that's now a variable. Okay. So let's go look at this. Matching values for stock update, right? And that's all it is. Okay. And then let's go back here, do a test run, click start. So that's going out. It's going out to that spreadsheet. Sent myself an email here. Let's take a look. The email was built. Go and open my Google Workspace. It's got it here in draft mode. And that's it. Stan Jasnowski, stocks update. Your Amazon stock price is $229 and yada, yada, yada. This is pretty cool to me, right? Because once again, I want to stay out of the dopamine trap that is my cell phone, right? I just want to be notified and just get some general information about things in my life. So now let's take a look at another way that we can do this. And that's using a Google Gem or Gemini Gem. Okay. So let's turn this on, by the way, by clicking turn on. Okay. It'll save it. Oh, I forgot to name it. So right up here, you just choose edit and we'll say stock update. Okay. Save changes. Done. Voila. Okay. Now let's look at another example. And in this example, what we're going to do is say, all right, I'm going to show you how to interface with a Google Gem, a Gemini Gem. All a Gemini Gem is it's a Gemini agent, right? And what I like to use them for is standard operating procedures, SOPs, knowledge bases. I think they're fantastic for that. I think all businesses are going to be using it this way. The old days, you'd take an SOP and it'd tell you how to do something, and it'd be in a Word document, right? The new SOPs with AI, you can actually interact with them. For example, I've created this Gemini Gem, and what it does is it tells everybody on my staff exactly how we set up for videos like this, right? The exact camera settings, the microphone settings, the mixer settings, what software we use. We use Riverside FM, and it's got all the settings inside that software, so we can stay consistent across the board. Well, what you can do now with these agents is you can actually interact with them, right? So we'll do something simple just to show you how you would interact with this agent. Okay, so the first starter is step 1 on a schedule. We'll keep doing that, right? We'll say we're going to run this at 11:15, repeat. We'll just do weekdays, Monday through Friday again. Choose a step. Ask a gem. Okay, so here we go. This is an internal Gemini Gem that I'm going to ask, right? So I'm going to scroll down to my video production agent SOP, enter a prompt. I'm going to just keep this simple and say, tell me about stand setup. Right? And then I'm going to say, and then go out to the web, and give me more detail about his camera. Tell me all about the lens options for it. Okay. So what that's going to do, it's going to go out to my gem, and it's going to go tell them about my setup, which is kind of an internal document on my Google Drive. And in that, it's going to say Stan has a Sony a7 IV camera that he shoots with. And he also uses a Shure microphone. He uses his Rodecaster podcaster mixer, right? Tells you all about my MacBook M5 that I use, and tells you all the settings. On my mixer, he uses level 8, and inside Riverside, he actually cranks up the volume for these videos at like 120%, right? And gives you all those settings and how I do it, right? So this is pretty cool. Now we did a little bit of twist. So you use the internal, the gem, and then we tell it, go use the external and get me all the lenses that are available for his camera, for his Sony a7 IV. So down here, sources Gemini can use, you can say, keep it internal, right? And web, or you can say web only, right? I don't want to use internal, right? But for this, we're going to use web, workspace, and connected apps, right? And so then the next step, all we're going to do is email me the results. So once again, we've got all the different steps. And down here, we're going to send an email. We're going to send it to me. Okay. Subject line, SOP email, right? And then the message, we're going to go get the variable from step 2, which is the gem results. Okay. Content created by a gem. So what we're going to do, more if I want is like a CC, BCC on that email. All right. And this is it. You go ahead and go down here to test 1, test run, and then you turn it on when you're done with it. Okay. This again is busy. So I'm going to show you the end result for this one as well. Okay. Oh, that was the previous one. Here we go. That was a stock update. Here we go. Right. It says Stan Jasnowski's video production setup is outlined in this PDF. And it also asks you at the end, would you like to download that? Right. Which is fantastic. Right. So it tells you all about my setup. It tells you about my lighting that I use for these videos. It tells you all about, I use the Elgato Camlink 4K. Right. I edit a lot of work with Canva, right, for thumbnails. And then it's got the lighting settings, 14% on the left side, 16% on the right. And so voila, there you go. So let's take a look again at this agent, and let's go ahead and turn it on. And we're going to get an issue with this one. Here we go. Let's turn it on, and it's going to come back. And now let's take a look. Oh, we forgot to name it. I have a problem there. SOP email. Right, let's save the changes again. Okay, and you'll notice under my agents, right there, we got some issues, right? So let's go into that again. Let's go test run. And that time it didn't say there's an issue, but it'll probably say there's an issue now. And this has been happening, this capacity thing. I'm sure they're going to get these bugs fixed out. Okay, so what are my overall thoughts on Workspace Studio? It's great. I think if you use the Google environment, you're going to love this, right? There are not that many integrations yet with other products, but it's clearly coming. There are some, you can see there's a Salesforce, there's you've got down here, it'll show you, you scroll all the way down, you got QuickBooks, you got MailChimp, you got Jira, you got Confluence integration, HubSpot integration, Asana integration, and then of course all your Google items, right? Which your sheets, your chat, your email, right? And it does have some other things that you can do to, if you really want to do some advanced coding, to really dig into it. And that's about it. So if you got any questions, put it in the comments below. What would you like me to see me make next on these videos? And if you've liked this video, please like and subscribe. And hey, have a great weekend. I appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.